I
Does that
wonder
mean
if, go ahead, Carrie.
I was going to say, does that mean we're supposed to stop with the idle chatter and get down to business?
Maybe a little bit, you know, to honor people's time and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But you know, it's an adjustment to figure out how to learn from home. I do want to say, like, I've had some people check in with me afterwards, you know, saying, hey, I enjoyed the session today, learned something new. I did have one particular friend that found our section on taking a photo quite hilarious of me and my mistakes. So I just want to express that Adam Davis, thank you for the nomination for the Emmy Award for the new category of professional learning, best role in the comedic portrayal of taking a selfie. So yeah, he quite appreciated that. So I'm just like, great. So I'm looking forward to doing the live video today. Do that. So thanks.
So there was a question already, Pam.
So,
there was a question
yes,
asking that if a teacher posts a video in SeeSaw for everyone, any messages from parents can all staff see? And I believe the answer is no. If Carrie posts it, I can see her announcement, but I cannot see parent responses. It still just goes to Carrie and vice versa.
You agree with that, Carrie? Because that's the part where I'm kind of gray on who sees what.
No, that's correct. So yesterday, when you showed you doing the selfie and doing the
Yes.
video, and then you posted it to everybody's journal.
Yes.
Then all the parents could see it, and any comments that they put in, we would both be able to see. So that was brilliant.
Okay, so but could Clem's mom see what Doreen's mom was saying about Clem and Doreen?
No.
No. Okay. That's good. So we're going to kind of continue on with that path today. So welcome, everybody. Thank you for the questions coming in. To me, these questions mean people are thinking about things and trying things, and that's exactly where we want to be. We want to be able to explore and question and wonder with all this today. So thank you for joining us. We'll start with our territorial acknowledgement. I can find my play button on that. Oh, there it is.
We acknowledge that the land on which we are gathered is part of the traditional territory of the Chippewa, Odawa, Potawatomi, and Delaware nations. These indigenous nations, known as the Anishinaabeg and Lenape, agreed through their ancestral languages to the mutual sharing of the land with obligations and responsibilities to the environment. Today, these responsibilities and obligations extend to all peoples.
And that video was created by our team member, Gretchen Sands Gamble, who is our Indigenous Special Projects teacher. And so she's done a great job of helping us understand and navigate the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action. So thank you for doing that, Gretchen. So today, I'm going to say we've been chatting away, but Sheila, you said you're having a good start to the day and happy it's Friday. You're very glowy.
Yes.
You got sun on you.
Yes, well, it's nice and sunny in here. It's great to see the sunshine today, and hopefully it'll be a lovely weekend so we can at least all get outside in our yards or for a walk, social distancing, and get some fresh air. But yes, I'm Sheila Richardson. I'm one of the special education coordinators, and I'm thrilled to be here learning with you this morning.
Hi, Carrie. How are you today?
Oh, is it my turn?
I
should just look at the list. I'm good. I'm really good. I am happy that it's Friday. I know one of my tasks today is to set those office hours, and I'm mildly stressed about that because I enjoy the flux of going in and out at my leisure, but then I don't enjoy the 8 o'clock text saying this post needs your approval, and then feeling pressure to to go in and approve that. So that's what I'm going to deal with today after we have this meeting.
Nice, yeah. It is good to reflect on how you like to learn, right? And how do you like to run your classroom? Like we all do that differently. Now we're trying to figure out how do we do it at a distance. So I'm glad you shared that. Thanks. Happy pre-birthday day, Michelle.
Thank you. I'm Michelle. I'm an ECE at Arrow Road. It's my 6th year working side by side with the lovely Carrie. And I am still struggling with office hours too, because SeeSaw for me right now is kind of like Facebook, is how I'm seeing all the kids. So I find if I'm sitting on the couch, I'm checking in on it. And now my husband's like, you have to put your devices down. So
yeah. Good morning. Again, it's Pam Gallant, a member of our elementary program team, and just really happy to have these partners with me today. I think I'll miss them tomorrow. I'll be, it's like, where are they? And all of you that are joining us. I too am looking forward to spending some time outside this weekend and getting out of the basement. I had a renovation a couple of years ago that this is supposed to be like a craft area and loungy area, and it has become like central hub of all learning. So I'm glad that my friend Paul was able to whip that up for me, and I'm feeling pretty comfortable. But so I was just talking, Carrie was saying about how to turn on and off your office hours. I found location has helped me because I only come down here to work. So I used to always have my laptop on my lap up in the, watching TV in the living room and that sort of thing. And so I found if I just leave it down here, I can step away from it. So the environment is helping me quite a bit. So maybe we'll keep sharing kind of things that are helping us get through the day today. Okay, so just want to go back to our 6 remote learning guidelines. And these have been really ringing true with me after our sessions every day, because I think this is our touchstone for us to come back to. So we were just talking about them actually, about prioritizing. So what's the most important thing and the pace that we're going to do that. So as we go through this today, we're going to make sure we'll be thinking about how we might plan contact with our students as asynchronous learning. So it's flexible for them. And that also includes being flexible for ourselves. The pace, so we're getting more information about what pace means for our students. So for kindergarten to grade 6, 5 hours next week is the expectation for students to have learning opportunities. So we know that we have to think about what does that mean for our students, so what pace that might make. So if we think about a writing activity, it may take 2 or 3 times longer for our students to engage in that. And Sheila, I know you're probably getting lots of questions from our students that have special needs accommodations, IEPs. That's probably even more important for those students.
Very much so. And as all of you know, our resource teachers are highly committed to working with you to help support you in supporting all of the learners within your room. So if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I do encourage you to reach out to your resource teachers. Our resource teachers also will be working with all of our other school teams, including high needs, multidisciplinary student support, hearing, vision, etc., ELL as we go forward. And so there is a huge umbrella out there of support. So please, if you are struggling with how to connect and or reach specific learning needs of some of those learners within your class, don't feel that you are alone and reach out as part of your school team.
Awesome, thank you. And as we're thinking about our activities we're creating today, prioritizing based on where your students are when we last saw them, and focusing on the literacy and the numeracy is the priority. Then we can add in those social studies and science as we go through, but let's not forget about the arts. Someone had posted the other day on Twitter and saying, just remember that when this is all over, the arts is what got us through. So thank you, Netflix. Thank you, Amazon Prime. Thank you, crafting projects. So like really, I'm hoping to share something today that kids might be able to explore at their own pace. That availability piece, Carrie mentioned that today, but establishing when we're going to be available for learning. The intentionality, so hopefully through our examples today, we'll talk about what the key learning that students are engaged in. And we're becoming more and more familiar with the SeeSaw tool. I know some people are blending Google Classroom and SeeSaw together. People are taking very familiar activities with Remind and using those skills and help in seeing that comes into SeeSaw. So again, remember to follow at your own pace, and you know your students, so what's best for them. So do we have any questions, Sheila, before we?
There's a lot of discussion right now in regards to office hours and how many you need to have, when they should be offered. If you're a prep teacher, should you be offering them? And I do realize that those office hours have been left somewhat vague, and that's intentional. My understanding is you should be using your professional judgment, and if you are unsure, please reach out to your principal and work with your administrator in order to determine what is going to work for you and for your students within your building.
Right. And make me think about our curriculum partner prep teachers. Like, they are managing a lot of different environments, like a lot of, you know, grade levels and everything like that. So I hadn't really thought about it in that perspective. So yeah, you're probably gonna have to really setting some guidelines too for like teachers to be contacting you on your prep time, on your office hour time, right? Because you could be dealing with people throughout the day.
There was some other question. Sorry.
I was going to say, Michelle and I had a conversation about the office hours yesterday and just deciding, should we have different office hours? Should they be the same? And we came to the conclusion that we would decide that they would be the same for both of us. And that way, if one of us had an emergency and couldn't be there during those hours, then at least there was still someone there to communicate with if there was something somebody wanted to talk to about.
That's a great idea. Awesome.
And there's a lot of prep teacher questions. The other one says, I'm a prep teacher and got invites from homeroom teachers, but you still need to make an account, I believe. I believe you do not still need to make an account. Carrie set me up as a co-teacher, and I didn't have to set anything up.
I think when you get in, you accept that invitation, it prompts you to make an account. Like,
oh,
so
you just having your own, but once
yeah,
you're
you need your own SeeSaw account, but you don't need to create classes.
Okay, thanks.
Yes. Okay. So if you get the invite, you will be prompted to make a SeeSaw account, and many teachers have done that. But then creating the class is actually you're sharing that class with the homeroom teacher.
Yeah. So as soon as you set that account up, you're in that class and you see everything that's there.
Yes, correct. So I think if we do future online learning, I think the co-teacher piece is a really interesting thing to explore. Okay, so this is the last of questions, right? And I think people are going to click through these ones kind of quickly today because I think we're getting good at this. Google, they're all there for you as well. But I do want to show that we have them all being archived. Rod is so fast at getting everything ready for us. Oh, it's looking a little today. So SeeSaw is up across the top. Oh, and like time per grade, all those things are in there as well. So you will see that our sessions are in there, currently using, and frequent use. So when you are ready to have additional learning, you've got some all ready for you, ready to go. Okay. So yesterday when we were learning, we did the connecting with families. Hopefully people have found their email contacts and are able to start that communication. And now we practice with making an announcement with everyone, and we started with some tools and attachments. And I just have in yellow here as a caution, because I had a conversation with someone yesterday that reached out and said, I'm struggling with this and I need some help solving this problem, and we were able to fix it up. So it's about adding students. The teacher shared that they were only able to add one student, and they were like, what is going on? I want to add more. So I'm going to go to my test class here, and what we discovered was when we were in the class settings, if we were in the classroom, this would have been not a problem. This student sign ed mode. So what had happened is their account was onto email and Google was the option that they had picked. So you can see confirm the change. So that's why, and she didn't have email addresses for her students. So that was part of the challenge. So using the one-to-one devices is probably what students are going to be using at home, because they have their parents' device and shared code. So if you were having trouble creating a student, it might be because of this. So putting on a shared device or a one-to-one device will help you get that going. So thank you to that brave person for reaching out and asking the question to clarify, because it's going to help many people to stop having those moments of frustration. Okay. Questions from the crew, anything?
I'm just taking just two just came in, so just give me a minute to read them.
Okay.
Okay, so there's one question. As an EA, with the new plans coming up for us to also engage with our students, they're wondering if EAs at their school could get together and open a SeeSaw account, and if they can use the emails from the classroom list to add them to their room. This room would be specific to the children on their caseload, as well as students that resource fields may need a long, a little extra TLC.
Right. So the addition of EAs actually is a relatively new way of thinking about this, because SeeSaw has always been used as really what's the purpose of SeeSaw was for students to create their own artifacts, or teachers help students gather their own artifacts and then be able to share that with families, but also use it with pedagogical documentation. So to gather information, look over time how a student has developed skills, you know, stop behavior, start behaviors, that kind of thing. And it's like a living, breathing record of their learning. And so now we're in a situation where we're shifting its focus of how SeeSaw is being used. So EAs have always been a very vital part to a classroom, but now we're trying to make sure we keep those relationships going with those students that they work so closely with. So it's kind of new learning. So I'm going to suggest that to my boss, Ben Hazard, and to Sheila's boss, Angie, and say maybe we can do some more learning about the role of the educational assistant and how does that partnership work? Because it's so new. How do we best guide people?
I think that's awesome, Pam. And if I can make sure any educational assistants on this call, there was a memo sent out to direct some of or guide some of that learning yesterday. So if you haven't had a chance to read that, please do. The other caveat I would add about adding your own SeeSaw account is that we have to be sure privacy of students is taken into effect. And so if it is kids just on EA caseloads all in one room, and other students can see who else is in sort of that room, that could lead to some privacy issues. So I would work with your administrator to kind of, again, look at what's best for your building. Another question that's come in is primary students. Is it best to send parent codes home, student codes home, or both?
Okay, so today we get into our working with the tools and the folders. You'll probably see on the screen something called home codes. And home codes are about 15 days old. So they're a brand new thing. And so our group 3 that's been meeting in the afternoon, they've been exploring the home codes. I think Carrie and Michelle have started doing a little bit of it. So really the focus on this session is about learning the tools and be thinking about how you can communicate with families. And the home codes, my understanding is when we send that home code home, it will crack open the device at home to be able to use like SeeSaw that students have been using in the classroom. But it's still so new. So I think just getting used to the tools, be thinking about it, watch the other sessions and you'll see where you want to head. Carrie, any thoughts on those home?
Yeah. Yes. I think when they're saying student code versus family code,
okay,
they're referring to the student code that the students would need if they were working on SeeSaw in the classroom with the teacher. Okay. So in some of the primary grades, I know that teachers are using we're using SeeSaw in the classroom where the kids could post their own learning in their own journal, and that's what the student code is for.
Okay.
The family code is what the parents need in order to see the announcements that you send home and the artifacts that you put in their journal. So
one student journal.
So they're definitely going to need to use the family codes and then later the home codes. And I don't believe that the student codes will come into play at all until they're back in the classroom.
Awesome. So when thinking about this session today, I was thinking about, like, we want to be true to what SeeSaw is doing and honoring, like, the learning Michelle and Carrie have done with their students, but how were they using the tools in the classroom and how were they using folders to organize that learning? Because I know you were using the folders to help you guide your documentation, for feedback, for deciding what's next for the learning, and then eventually writing in kindergarten the communication of learning report, and in grades 1 to 8, those folders are great for helping us manage the information to help a report card comment. And one of the best ways to use SeeSaw is to help manage all that documentation tool, because when we started using iPads for photos and videos, people were like, this is awesome, but then I have 1,000 videos to sort through. So SeeSaw helped manage all of that. So I'm hoping Michelle and Carrie can talk, when we introduce a tool, how do they happen to use it or not use it in the classroom? And then I'll share how we may kind of like hijack SeeSaw to use it for home learning piece. So if that, we can use that as our plan today. You okay with that, Michelle? Give me a wave. Yep. There we go. So we're going to be spending a lot of time on that green button. So I'm going to get into my test class for that. And so we'll go here. And so yesterday we spent time in sending the announcement. So we're going to do some posting of student work today. So yesterday we saw the photo and we saw the upload of a file, a video, or a photo. So today I'm wondering if we could start down here, the link. So Carrie and Michelle, had you ever used the link to add a student document?
I have not used that one.
And I'm not surprised.
I do notice it's popping up now because we've started using the home codes. So there'll be a link attached to the picture, but I have to say I'm not exactly sure what it does. Sorry.
Okay. So that's okay. And this is where I think it's important for people to realize is that you're going to find ways of using these tools that will suit your learning style with your students. So I'm going to go and show you what I was thinking about. And I have the context of junior students too, so a little bit different learners. So I'm going to scroll back here until I find, here's my cute little koala picture. So this is something I create. So this is an artifact that I created. And if you look at this side here, I didn't notice this until yesterday, that this is a post that I sent to everyone. So the test class, everyone. So I've also put a little recording. Click on the link to visit the National Geographic. There'll be lots of animals for you to research and find out interesting facts about. I also wrote that text down there so people can read it, but again, supporting our youngest learners, what they might just want to listen to me share the story. And remember our ELL and students that just need a little extra support, or people just like to hear your voice. So if you click on the link, it will pop you directly to the website that you want students to see. So I thought it was very cute.
This is great
Mammals
learning.
and birds. Oh, I'm glad.
And this is excellent learning. Can you just go back and review one more time how you got here?
Yep, and so my plan today is I've made an example so you kind of see the whole thing, and then we're going to do it again.
How you got to this page, even getting right back into this page. You could just
Okay,
do
so
that step by step one more time.
So here we are. I'm in my classroom here, and I have my class, my students that I've added are over here, and I'm in the journal function right now. And I love how, Michelle, you said this is like your Facebook feed, right? As your class builds its artifacts, it's all going to be here. So we're going to go and take a look at one of those. So I created this one, and so how I started to make that link is click there, post student work, and I'm going to choose this time I'm going to choose the link. So we're going to create one. So click on the link. So you need to find your link. My friend Gretchen, who I mentioned at the start today, this is one of her students' favorites. Remember the Pigeon books? Mo Williams is the author of this book. So he has, every day at lunch, he was doing lunch doodles with Mo. They're about 20, I know. They're about 20 minutes, Gary's face. They're about 20 minutes long. And he's just so patient. He starts by drawing, and then he says, go get your stuff. And then they work together. So I thought that would be a good one. So I'm going to copy my link, and then I'm going to go back to my, paste it in there, and my green check mark. And oh, I need to hide you people. You're covering all my, okay. So then now I'm going to record a message. Click the button to record. Hello, everyone. I wonder if you want to do some art with me today. Here is Lunch Doodles with Mo Willems. Listen to what he says. He'll tell us to get some material. Happy drawing. And then I got too many there we go. Check the green check mark. I can replay that if I'm happy with that. If I don't like it, just exit out. Click on there. And then if I like how Carrie and Michelle talked to me about the caption. So I'm just going to say doodle with Mo Williams. E-N-S. Okay, and again, you can be more descriptive. Some people are matching. They do their caption first, and then they read their caption, so they're identical. And I'm ready to do that. So then you can decide here, is this something that's going to be placed in every student's journal? And if it's in everybody's, then every parent's going to get the notification. Is that right, Michelle? If I click on that?
Yes.
Okay. And if maybe I'm just doing something special for the 3 kids that draw continuously all the time, I could just select those, something special for them. But I'm going to put it in everybody's test case. And then here. It is going to ask me what folder I want to put in here. I don't have an art folder at this time. So I could create that. But I'm also wondering too, like Michelle, you have all your folders created for documentation.
Sorry.
That's okay. Hi, Archie. If maybe this will create an art folder, and I'm going to make it a purple one.
And this is fantastic. I think a lot of students would really, really appreciate that and would really enjoy that activity. I know my girls personally would. I've got about 5 questions that are coming in. Can we slow down and have a good time to pause for some of those questions?
Absolutely, because it's uploading, so.
Okay, so our first question is, what is the difference between assign a task and post student work?
Okay.
So
yes, go, Michelle.
So assign a task is what we've been using now that we're sending work to students from home. We didn't really use that in the classroom. Posting the work is where we have documentation of a child that we want to share with their parents. So posting a student's work is if I have a photo or a video from that child, I can post it into their journal for the parents to see. Assigning a task is I sent home a math challenge yesterday to the classroom. So I did a little video and I assigned that for the students to do at home.
We did discover though, we discovered yesterday that you can use the post student work also to send out a message to the whole group if you haven't done the home code section. So you can only assign an activity if you have sent home the home codes and the parents have the home codes and are using the home codes. If you haven't done that, you can still send a message to the whole group by posting student work, but you're actually, in the classroom, you would be posting their work, but from home, you can post yourself giving a message. You can post the link like Pam was doing, and then that activity will go into everybody's journal and the parents will see it and be able to respond to it.
Right. So I'm glad we're having this clarification, because Carrie and Michelle in the classroom and anybody else that's using SeeSaw, when you're post-student work, you would have to envision like an 8-year-old kid doing this. So here's my picture, I'm talking about me, I'm writing on it, putting emojis and doing all that. That's the kids' creative work. Or in Carrie and Michelle's case, they took the picture of the kid and asked some questions and they wrote down what the kid said. So it's a documentation of what the student learning was. That was in the classroom. And that was a building artifact of what their learning is over time. So now, since we're at home learning, I'm like, how can I use this tool to share learning opportunities with students? I'm wondering if we could, we want to talk about posting student work. I'm worried about using the word activities because that's something different over here, which are ready-made pieces. We'll do a little click in that later on. An assign activity is that this assign activity is related to this activity bank. So those two things. So we're working mostly in post-student work, and we're kind of hacking or making SeeSaw work for us today. So that's why I'm really happy Michelle and Carrie can reflect on how they use it. So they weren't using a link ever before, because a kindergarten kid probably wasn't searching for a link and talking about it. But in my grade 5 class, someone might do a link talking about a science topic and having that link in there and then talking about the research they found from that post. And that might be their artifact.
I think Carrie needs to explain one more time how you guys were able to create like a little video challenge and send it to your students using the post-student work. Can you explain that again, Carrie?
And is there, thank you, Michelle. The other question that's often coming up is there a difference when you're using an iPad to be able to do that versus a computer?
I think they're pretty similar what you can access to. It just,
I think
they're all the same.
I'm limited when I use my phone. I have used my phone if I'm like outside in the yard and I want to add something. I find it, I don't have as much access to things on my phone, but my iPad is the same as my computer.
Okay, good.
I only ever use the iPad.
Yeah, and I found it was hard. I've been working on a computer, and like the phone, the photographs and the video is basically the selfie view and like video. Like I'm not walking around with my I had to sit in front of the computer screen to take the video. It's much more mobile with the iPad. So let's go. So let's look at another time. So we're going to think about if a student is working in the class. And Carrie and Michelle, like you've got little kids running around you, and you're thinking about, I want to use a video to document their learning. Or in my class, if I was a grade 5 teacher, my students are in control of the iPads and they want to take a video to document something that they're learning. Have you used that tool?
Yes.
Okay, so tell us about what that might look like.
So you can take a video, like record a video, and then use post student work to put that video in somebody's journal, or kids could put that in their own journal.
Right. So I think
you
I've
could
seen
also
their class, like they've been out on the climber and they're like, Mrs. Miller, I can go down the slide really fast. And you?
Yes. Take a video, and then I post it to their journal later, and their parent will see it.
And to add on to that quickly, someone was asking, how do I put that into the folder? So after Carrie and I, after we post the video, explain what was happening, and I add it, then it's going to give me my options of the folder at the bottom, and I click on that folder and I can put it into I just check the folder I want. So I create the post first, and then I just check the folder I want. You'll see it at the bottom of your picture.
Yeah, there it is. So I made a video, recorded it last night. So I'll click and show you this.
Hi everyone, I've got the book I'm going to read next to you all. It is called The 3 Questions. One of my favorite books, and I love the artwork in it. Can't wait until you join me for story time.
Okay. And if I look at over on the side here, I shared that video to everyone. So when Carrie and Michelle were in the class, if maybe they would have just taken that, if I was this my video introducing the book, they would just tag that to me, to one student. But because I'm trying to share some learning for the home, I've chosen to share it with everyone. So I'm going to put myself out in a limb here again and make a new video. So posting student work, record a video. Good morning. Oh, and press go. Good morning, everyone. It's beautiful today. Blue skies. Get outside and play. Okay. I could go on for 5 minutes. I don't want to. So I'm going to click done. And it's going to give me some of those same options at the bottom of that. So if I was in the classroom, kids will record their own video. And when we think about who gets this video, as a classroom teacher, Carrie and Michelle, you were just tagging one student at a time, probably, right?
Every so often we would tag a couple if it was a couple friends who did the work together.
Okay.
But yeah, mostly it would be 1 or 2 small groups.
Okay, so I put in some morning message and I'm ready to click that. So in this case, I'm just going to give that to Max. That's my nephew. He needs to go outside more. He's been on the computer all the time. And my folders, do I have to put it in a folder?
You don't have to.
Okay, I'm not going to this time. So click. There we go. So that time I only sent that message to one person. So that's probably similar to what you did in the classroom. But my book message, and see how it's starting to look like a Facebook feed? Everything's been scrolled along.
Can you show them, can you scroll by the bottom of your post and show them that folder icon though?
Yes, I can. The one I just made? Oh, I didn't do one. So there's the
Right there.
Right there. So
Oh, yeah.
picture, so scroll down and then you'll see the pictures and the little folder icon. That's what you're going to click on when you're done. So go over, nope, over on the bottom. So you have like, comment.
Okay, I'm going to go back. Sorry, guys.
So at the bottom of your post, you'll see like, comment, text. So if you click on that folder button, that's where you're going to just check mark the folder you want to go in. That's how you put it.
Okay, that's cool. So I can put that in my reading.
Yeah, you can do that after. Yeah.
Nice, nice. I did discover, I'm going to show you something, folder people that like to keep things organized. I know you're like me. Over in the class settings, and you have a section that comes about folders. Where did I go that?
It's at the bottom. It says manage folders.
Thank you very much. So there's something wrong in this picture. Math is not a brown document. It is a blue document. I need to change that to match the curriculum doctor. So I needed to go back in there and update that just so People can change their mind after the fact. So you can create all your folders right off the bat if you wanted to do that. And folders are going to be really important, as like if I was writing my grade 5 language comments, I could go through and look at my reading and find out, you know, what has been shared by students. I'm going to look at Max's folder here too, because I've added some things for Max. So he has that little morning message for me. Everybody's got that lunch doodles and everybody's got some math, but I could look at Mark's folder, Mark's portfolio, I should say. He doesn't have that morning message for me because I didn't give it to him. I only gave him the lunch doodle piece. Okay, how are we doing for questions?
I think we've answered most of them. If we haven't, please retype your question. There is one question though. For example, maybe you are not a co-teacher within an assigned class. Maybe you're with our itinerary teams, or maybe you know, for whatever reason you haven't been assigned, and you are wanting to create something for a teacher to then share with students. Is there a particular platform that you should use, like Word, Publisher, something like that, that you should be using for them to add as an attachment, or does it matter?
Well, it seems like the file, photo, and video, that they've got the Google here, so I think that helps a lot. With the attachment, I think that, the link, you could create something and give that shareable link, like to a Google Drive account, and open up a slideshow. So I think this is like really interesting. If I was, say, like the music teacher and I wanted kids to, you know, do like watch a video and create something, or, you know, dance, that kind of, respond to this piece of music, I might create a slideshow in Google Drive and share the link to that Google Drive. So the kids just click on the link and then do the work from that teacher.
Pam, can we back up? I've got a few people have asked if you can explain again how to make the link work. So do you need to have the link copied first? And if so, how do you do that?
Yeah, so it's when you click on the link button, you go here. And I had opened up lunch doodles with, like, I was ready to go with that. But I believe I can just go to another one. I'm like museums.
So Pam, while you were doing that, I was playing.
Yes.
And I just to see, because I've never used that before. So I happened to go into like Canadian Geographic, and I just, once I got to where I wanted to be, I touched it. You know, I did the copy.
Yep.
I just copied it. And then when I went back into SeeSaw and I hit link, it automatically put it in there. It was so easy. I was, shocked.
Yeah.
That it just happened. And so it's not that difficult for sure.
There you go. So then I can put that in draft. I'm not ready to do that. Okay. And so I'm just going to let it sit there for a bit. Okay. I'm going to delete and start over again. Okay. And what about notes? Have you ever had kids write their own notes as their own artifact in their journal?
We haven't yet, because what we were doing was the kids were doing that work in their journal. And if I wanted to share it, I was taking a photo of it.
Do you know what I've noticed though? I have noticed that the parents that we send home the home codes to have been using that function.
Very cool.
And I just realized it now when I touched note. I was like, I've noticed that with some of the kids. The parents have used it. I didn't even know where they got it. So there you go.
Like, so they're typing things like, Mrs. Miller, Mrs. Henderson.
They put in, like, we've given them tasks of what are some words that start with W, and so their parents will like type it in there, or they'll write it in there.
Yeah. Okay, so this is just basically a whiteboard typing. So I know some of the junior students have been like, I'm going to show you something about a book I've read. Like, you could ask them to respond to their predictions here. I predict the 3 questions are going to be, you know, this, this, and this. So they can, and that could be the student artifact that the child generated in the class. And so I'm going to assign this just to David. So this was in the classroom. That was David's work. And that only goes into David's work. And I'm going to make sure I put it in the writing folder. Do that. So that's kind of an example of what it would have looked like in the classroom. If a kid had control of the device, write their own note. And again, you can make a comment on it as a teacher with that. And again, those dots, if you need to delete or edit, they can go back and do that. So that might have been how it looked like in the classroom, but as a teacher, hijacking this again, I might have 2 kids that I know I want to get them working on some persuasive writing. So I'm going to assign this one just to Clem and to David. And this is the prompt I created for them, writing prompt, which is better, winter or summer, but the reasons why you think winter or summer is better. Again, I have recorded that.
Here is today's writing prompt. Which is better, winter or summer? Write about the reasons why you think winter or summer is better.
And since I was thinking about this afterwards, I might even edit that to say, like, you don't have to write it on a computer, write on a piece of paper. Use your whiteboard. Like, you can add additional instructions for that. So again, this might be the hack of using SeeSaw. Instead of gathering student artifacts, I'm trying to generate some learning for them. Okay. Questions, or can we go to the next one? Because I'm mindful of our time, 9:45. I think
How do you put something into drafts and take it out?
Okay, let's try that then. So gobbledygook.
And then what do we do if somebody responds back?
So Carrie and Michelle, can you handle that?
What was the question again?
So, and what do you do when somebody responds back to you?
In what format?
I'm guessing in the format that was just being discussed. So if you kind of ask them to go and complete that whiteboard and they reply back to you.
So sometimes we'll just like it. We'll like whatever they post. And then we'll say, you know, great work. Or sometimes I'll put a comment to extend the learning. You know, that's a really tall tower that you built. I wonder if it would be more stable if you had a wider base. What would that look like? Or I might say, I should actually look at some actual examples of things I said.
That sounds good. But I think too, like, I'm sending this out to my students now. If I'm hacking the SeeSaw to share information, how am I getting that back yet? So a parent could take write back in the comments. Before, they used to say, oh, you look so cute playing in the mud. Can't wait to see you at home. Like from a picture that was taken at school. Like, so how the information's coming back. So I'm kind of stuck on that right now until we start getting those home codes going. Maybe some classes, like it'll be right now, I think we're just trying to get connected with students and get them some learning. I don't know if we're getting information back to them just yet. And I think that's where the home codes helps us a lot with that. So I'm still figuring that out.
Yeah, we've sent some announcements before we did the sending the whole journal. We were also sending announcements with some suggestions. Like I asked for a weather report the other day, and so the students would answer the announcement by sending me a message. Now, the only problem with that was then Michelle couldn't see them. So that's why we started adding it to their journal so that we can both see the responses. And then moving forward, that's why the activities are good, because then again, we can both access the activities.
Okay. And those responses from families, can they write quite a bit, or can they put a picture in there? What is the limitation of the
Yeah,
parent?
they usually send me a picture and add a note.
So that's awesome. So if a kid wrote something on a piece of paper, the parent, like, they could take a picture and send it back that way.
Yeah. Can I don't know how to do this without, oh, there's no, okay, here, I can show you, because there's no picture of the child, but that's something that they sent me as a message. So they drew a picture. They drew a picture and then they sent it to me with a comment.
Nice. So home codes, once we get you familiar with all these tools and get thinking about what you might want to ask students to do, this home code up here, that's where we're saying, like, maybe you can do some learning about the recorded sessions for session 2s and group 2 and group 3. They've talked about some home codes and the activities. I'll show you those in a little bit. That you might decide, I think my group of students are ready for that. Or maybe this is just, I'm connected, I'm sharing them some learning opportunities, and the response through the parent response is just fine. Or if you have a Google account, maybe that's where it's going to. And I'm going to go and show the last tool is the drawing tool. And so, but if you think about it today, it will be the 4th thing we've shared. And I think this is a good time to pause and think about our principles again, about the pace of activities and the volume of activities. Parents are going to get a notification about the video. They get a notification about the link, a notification about the journal, the notebook. Now they're going to get one about drawing. So you know your student and parent population well. Is this something you send 4 or 5 posts on Monday and say, enjoy the week of learning? Or is it one thing every day? You will make those instructional decisions. So drawing tool, Carrie and Michelle, did you use that tool?
I just used it this week for the first time.
Yeah.
When I no, actually I didn't, and I should have. I used whiteboard and then I took a picture of it, but it would be great we talked about the letter W this week.
Mm-hmm.
It would be great to draw a W and then say trace it, and then they could go on and do that.
Right. Those of you that are teaching junior classrooms, this is the tool that has made junior teachers really reflect and say, like, I think SeeSaw has a place in my classroom because of its functionality and its flexibility with things. So I'm going to show you an example of in this case, I'm using it more as an instructional tool to share with the students on something they're already familiar with, but might just need a little reminder with. Sorry, I'm scrolling. Where did oh, I know why I'm having trouble there. I'm in sample students work. I want to go to my class journal so I can see where I've been. Okay, so this one here, I wonder if I can make this bigger. I don't know if I can or not. Okay, so this was created with the drawing tool. Oh, there it is.
Hi,
I'm just
about the splitting strategy to add and using it to add numbers. Remember when we split numbers, we split along the place value lines. So into the 10s and the 1s. That will help us today. So 34, oh, change my pencil. So 34 plus 78. If I look at 34, I can split that along its place value of 30 plus 4. And 78, I can split it into place value 70 plus 8. I'm going to remember that I have to add these numbers together, all together. But I can rearrange them to make them friendly for me. So I'm going to take 30 and 70, and that equals 100. Then I'm going to take 4 and the 8 from the ones, that equals 12. I'm going to add those two numbers together. My answer then is 112. That is the splitting strategy. I'm going to give you a new question on the next page. Give it a try.
So at the, see how this is a 1 of 2? So I can move that over.
Hi,
Oh, I don't want to do that.
Some of you are wondering about the splitting strategy and using it as.
I'm going to move to page 2, where I've given students the same kind of question.
Give this adding question a try. Add 64 plus 39. We just tried the splitting strategy, so why don't you give it a try?
I think I would refine my instructions to say answer on a piece of paper or your own whiteboard, that kind of piece. So a lot of teachers are really using this one when kids are struggling with the problem or problem solving through it. They're doing the recording and talking out loud with it. So if it was a student artifact, they would talk about their answer there.
Pam, I'm not sure if I can ask a question right now. It doesn't
Go right ahead. Yeah.
Exactly where we're at, but there's a few people that are working alongside and trying this out as they're watching, trying to save drafts, but they're either being challenged with it saying it's a premium feature and it won't save for them. So I'm wondering, is that something that the LKDSB version, you can save a draft or not? Yes. And then once you do save the draft, where do you find it from there?
So I save my draft to my sample student. So if I go in there, it's there, it's visible to teachers, so nobody has it yet. And I'll show my draft and I can open that back up. So sample student's gonna get a lot of draft work. So I can go in and edit that and realize. It's not letting me type for some reason. I must be frozen a bit. There we go. And then I could save it like that. So
I didn't even know that existed. So.
Yeah, I always thought, who was the annoying sample student? Why are they always getting top billing? And then I realized, oh, they're very useful. So yeah, so I would, if you're wondering how to do stuff and you don't have enough time to do things, that might be a good place to add. The post-student work, kids love the drawing tool when you're in the classroom because they can draw a picture. It's hard to, I did that work on my iPad and so it's a lot easier, but you can draw, like drawing with my mouse is not as easy. I can try to write my name. But you can add text tools to it. So science, you can add a picture to the drawing page. So here I go again, gonna take my selfie, yay. So thrilled to be getting my picture taken so many times. And students can do voiceover. So one of my friends, Allison, her kids did this, and so they would do like and you can add pages too. So they use this as like a photo essay. So they could, like, did the animal report, maybe they would say, I put their animal here, they can text titles, move things around, but they could say, I'm doing a report on iguanas, and then go to the next page, and they could read the research and put in there as well. So it becomes like a little multimedia presentation to go along with that. So I think this tool is really fascinating. It's what it can do for when students were in the classroom to create their own artifacts. But I think it might be a really interesting tool for teachers to use if they're looking at assigning, like teaching a lesson. Like I think you can review some of those math strategies or like a little grammar rule, that kind of piece. You can add it whatever way you like. So.
And is there a limited number of pages you can add? And also, do we have to create our own sample student, or is that something that's automatically created when we set up an account?
So that is automatically in there. Everybody is a sample student to go along in there. And what was the first part of that question?
And is there a limited number of pages you can add?
I think it's like 10 or 12. It was pretty hefty. So I see it's the top of the hour. So any questions?
Pam, two of us are like, I said it myself, and there's two other people who have said they don't have a sample student. Is that only for the teacher who sets up the SeeSaw? Do co-teachers not have access to that?
Good question. I don't know.
You would think you should be able to add a student. I recently added one. I called him new friend.
Oh, so I could probably make my own then, because I do not have one automatically there.
Probably.
So new friend would be a good one. Yeah, I would advise using the sample student is a good practice to use because these are licenses all paid by student number, and we have 10,000, but I think we don't have 10,000 students in our board, but if Carrie's 30 kids and I create a class with the same 30 kids, now we're up to 60 kids. So we're gonna have to tidy that up next year, I think. But yeah, use a sample student. I like that idea of new friends. Sheila, any questions? Because I know we're pushing the limits on time here.
We do have some that they're struggling to be able to save drafts. So again, okay. I'm wondering if they're just not in the LKDSB paid version of SeeSaw. So I'm going to suggest, unless you have a quick answer, that they go back to our first presentation.
Giving great advice. It's probably because you're still using, it's not within the LKDSB domain. So there are two things to check. One, your email address has to be an lkdsb.net or an lkdsb.com. And if you happen to have signed up through the Google pathway, you may not have been picked up in that lkdsb.com. It's totally okay. Just email me and say, I don't think I'm connected. But please tell me the school you're with and the email you're using for your account. You can email me directly at my.net account. The other thing that might be happening is when you, I had a teacher who was signed up for SeeSaw about 3 years ago and hadn't used her account, and it looked all good. And she was using her .com address, and I'm like, why is she not with this school? And because she had signed up using, I'm going to name a school, let's say my school, Parkside Elementary School, the one I went to junior in elementary in PEI. If it was just, if she had written Parkside, it wasn't getting picked up because the administrator, me, had called it Parkside Elementary. So the schools had to match too. So I can just do a little bit of detective work and find you. So if you email me with your name, the email account you're using, and what school you're connected with or want to be connected with, I will help you out with that.
Thanks, Pam. The last question, I am going to post where you can access these video recordings, but I'm not sure, Pam or Rod, if you're listening, if this is a question for you. If when people want to rewatch the videos, they want access to what was in the chat, is there a way for them to re-access the chat?
Yeah, the chats are being saved, and I believe there are links below many of the videos on the blog where you can download the chat. Users, if there's something there that you want immediately, I'll alert you to the fact that in the bottom right-hand corner of the chat tool, there are 3 little dots, and I think most users can hit those 3 dots and have the option to save the chat. And if you do that, it'll save it to your local computer in a folder called Zoom.
Sounds great. I don't want to overload people, but I just feel like if I don't click this button, I might explode. So this is for when you're ready and you feel like you've got a handle on the tools, because the activities button, and they talked a lot about this in the session 2, so people that are actively using SeeSaw a lot, this activity library is available. and it probably spend some time in the community part. So if I have 5th grade and I was looking for maybe a music activity, there are a wealth of ready-made activities in here. I would say the quality is equal to Pinterest. Some of it's fantastic, and some of it's like, ooh, what's going on here? So again, intentional. So going through and finding, you may find an activity that you might want to consider learning more about. And they are all set up. So here's one like growth mindsets versus fixed mindsets. So there's all kinds of things that you can look at and enjoy. So I'll just say, this is like going to Pinterest just for SeeSaw. And there's lots of resources available in our session 2 and session 3 people. But I think we have to get out of here. So I just want to go back to our PowerPoint to share a feedback spot. I'm going to pop back into the video. I just want to say thank you so much to my partners. Sheila, who is like organization queen, and Michelle and Carrie, you've proven you are a fantastic team in the classroom, and you're great. I'm glad to be joining you as team members today, and your insight on how kids are using this tool and how you're sharing that learning with families has been really helpful.
Well, thank you for inviting us and including us, and there's lots of new learning here for me too, which is great. So it was enjoyable. So
yeah. Thank you so much. I enjoyed this.
That's great. I'm about 8 hours ahead of you in the learning, just so you know. Things I learned yesterday are shared today.
Pam, are you going to invite people to turn their cameras on and maybe stop
Yes.
sharing so you can give a morning wave with your cup of coffee or whatever it is you have at your side?
That would be great. We started a trend yesterday with everybody turning on their cameras. And so if you're interested in doing that, turn on your camera and click the grid view so you have everybody showing, and you'll have a great way of checking in with seeing who's here today. There they are. I love it. Get some shy people. I think when people, oh, there's Lisa Petrucci. She was one of the first people that spoke out of the video. I appreciate that, Lisa. Hi, Mary Lynn. Hi, Adam Davis. How are you?
Hi, Melissa. Hi, Abby. Hi, Raina.
Say hi to Grandma.
My granddaughters are in a picture.
JC was in there, but she's gone now.
Yeah.
She's right there. There's Grandma. She's right there.
So
I'm missing 9
virtual
people.
high five, Michelle. Virtual high five, Sheila. And big round of applause for Rod.
Now is when I should bring Archie in to say hello, but he's not here. So.
Yeah.
Archie.
There we go.
Archie.
So before we all sign off, I want to thank our presenters from the bottom of my heart and the work that you've put in this week to get these sessions ready for everybody. Thank you so much. Our team and friends have been hard at work all week long, really working to provide these sessions for you. And as well, I'd like to thank all of you who attended for the last 3 days. Thank you very much. We appreciate your attention to all of this. We know we're all on a steep curve, and as Pam said, she's only about 8 hours ahead of you guys. So, and I'm behind you guys. So, thank you very much for being here, and you know who to reach out to now if you have some questions. So, thanks.